Alright, let's see if this is on. It says it's streaming. Stream health is good. Not now. Looks like we're on. Cool. So this I don't even know if this is plugged in right. Simplify your workflow. Yeah, dude, I'm on. Come check it out. I think I'm live. Where is he? Keep an eye on this too. Tweet. And so this goes, I hope I have audio on. I don't even know. I have one viewer watching. It's probably me. Okay, this says this is on. I guess we'll see. Stream health is good, but it's buffering. Why? I may be cramming too many bits down the pipe. All right, I need, here comes a tweet. I need a thing. Oh, well, I don't even know how to get the link. That would be beneficial. Trying to figure out how to get the link. Could YouTube make this more difficult? I don't know. All right, so let's go in manually. YouTube. And I'm gonna try and catch this. Let's see, hold on. Let's see if I can see it. Videos. Nothing. Maybe I'm not public. Okay, hold on. How do I just rock this? Hold on. Search your encoder. Status bar will indicate when you're live. Stop streaming, stop your encoder. Well, I've gotten that far. When your stream is complete, a public video will automatically be created. Ready to go live again? No, I'm trying to go live the first time. Basic info. Oh, public. Done. Okay, hold on. There we go. Let's see if this works. Okay, so let's go to here. Nope. Maybe it's here. Ah, there we go. Okay, so okay, now that's good to know. First time, folks. Well, it's not the first time, but it's the first time with this particular thing. Great thumbnail. My God. Well. Hey, what's up, Gary? Bear with me. So, this is a new living. This is a new live streaming setup, and I have no idea what I'm doing. So, we're just trying to figure it out as it goes. And there's probably already a lag since I've been streaming for, what, 5 minutes now? I've been streaming to no one for 5 minutes now. Okay, good. Thank you. That's what I need to know. Video and audio sound and look good. That's the key. The audio is a problem here because of this little rig that I have. I'd like to set it up better, but it is what it is. I'm using the Rode on top of this camera, and that, you know, I should do. See, what kind of sucks about this, and this is how I remembered it from last time, it's like there's a lag between me seeing you and you seeing me. It's just how it is. Thoughts on a Yashico Electro 35? They're pretty good, man. Highly recommended. I don't think you can go wrong, really, to be honest, with any film camera for your first camera. They're all pretty good. We have limited light, guys. The light source over here is the sun, and it's drifting that way. But I've got a light over here, so yeah, we're fine. But yeah, so finally online, yes. I'm testing a new live setup. I have nothing planned for this, zero. I almost didn't do it because I'm like sitting here going, who's going to watch me like do nothing? Yeah, you want a Holga? I've got plenty. I've got a whole closet of Holgas in there. New York. Oh, yeah. Here's the deal, Mr. Ep. New York will come soon. I'm glad you guys think I look amazing. I feel like I'm kind of tired and it's the end of the day. And yeah, New York will come soon. So the deal is I thought I would have been to New York by now. The big secret was the Phase 1 that came out, because, you know, I do some stuff with Digital Transitions, who are awesome dudes. And they told me about it, and so I knew about it, and I was all excited. And what ended up happening was it turned out they weren't going to have a model to demo. And so I said, well, when you do get a model to demo, let me know, and I'll come to New York. Here's the other thing I don't like. So volume issues, Bob. Tell me what volume issues. This whole point of this is I'm just testing things. I have nothing prepped, nothing planned. Show us your darkroom. Everything's a mess here right now. So I'm just trying to get audio and video figured out here. So I have, when I've done these live things before, I've used the Google Hangout thing, which is kind of easy, and I've usually had somebody on here with me, and now I'm flying solo. But I got this weird Elgato deal that like takes an HDMI cable and just plugs it into your USB port. And I think it works pretty good. We'll see how good it works when this light starts to drop. We're going to test the limits of the Sony a6300 here. I don't kill the cats. Somebody actually asked me recently if I still had cats because they hadn't been on in a while. I have cats. They're one's on the floor over here and the other's waiting to be, you know, whatever. I'm being quiet. I can't really bring it up as we're live, but sorry about that. But good to know, because next time, maybe I'll do another test tomorrow. Who knows? And we'll figure this out. I want to get a different mic in here because this one's not that great. It's one of the Rode video mics. Dude, the cats are not going to die soon. I don't know why you collect Holgas, but hey, man, it's my favorite camera. I've said that before. Because you can't do anything with it. You have to like figure out what to do with it. Like, you know what I mean? There's no settings really to change. Yeah, okay, so I can talk louder and get closer to the camera. Sorry, I have to go onto the back of the... I mean, I could try it. Hold on. Let's see. You might see the menus pop up, because everybody loves Sony menus, right? Let's see, menu.
Nope, you probably don't see the menus. Okay, so I need audio, so hold on a minute. Hold on. I'm going for the audio. Let's see if we can just do this live. That would be amazing. You know what would really be amazing is if this thing had a flip screen. That would be amazing. Bear with me, folks. Audio recording level. Look at this. 10, 11, 12, 13. Check, check. 1, 2. It's probably way too... Whoa, that's way too loud. I can see it. Hold on. Let's go back down to 10. Okay. Now let's behave. All right, so is the audio better now, folks? Or is it like distorting and way too loud? Actually, each one does have a unique personality, and that's kind of another one of the things I liked about it. I didn't mean to say, why would anybody collect? Yeah, feels like Twitch. It's like Twitch, but YouTube. Actually, funny story about Twitch. So, I had my Deeper Pixels shirt on yesterday. So here's the deal. Yeah, these go to 11. Interesting story about Twitch. Like years ago, before I ever did the art of photography, I had like this account. I was pre-approved as one of the beta testers for Justin.tv. I don't know if you guys remember that or not. It later got bought and turned into Twitch. And I used to do these live broadcast stuff all the time of me just sitting there working. I mean, entertainment was really solid back in like, what was that, 2005, 6, somewhere in there. Anyway, so it's funny because I don't care for live broadcasting, to be honest with you, because like live broadcasting for me like works great for sports or like a live event or something like that. But I like to edit stuff, just saying. And so a lot of times my videos are edited, but people keep saying, dude, you need to go live. And then I saw this, yeah, I'm using OBS, dude. Byron, I owe you an email, bro. I know you've been trying to get a hold of me and like life has been crazy lately. So I'm using OBS and I'm rocking this Elgato plugin thing. I gotta say, I have tried live broadcasting on various things, YouTube, etc. before. The phone's the easiest thing, right? But when I've tried it in the past, it was always an ordeal. I had this like black magic thing that I had, and like it would get really hot. It's somewhere around here. And it was an HDMI to USB kind of scene. Actually, I think it was USB to FireWire. And anyway, yeah, it was really janky. Was that around the time you were going to? Yes. So no, but it's funny you mentioned John P. because Byron Das, who's in the chat, we had offices sort of near one another. I think we were a few apart at the Geek House when I did that for a few months. So the Geek House was a temporary solution before I moved to Fort Worth. And, you know, unfortunately, Geek House isn't around anymore, and it's kind of too bad because it was a really cool group of people. And John is a really nice guy. I really like John, and I wanted that to work out. And then I moved to Fort Worth, and it's like, I mean, that's like an hour drive to Addison from here, so it wasn't going to happen. So here's where we're going to test the Rode Podcaster or Procaster or whatever this is. The air conditioning just flipped on. Now, when I do videos during the day, I flip this off. It's too hot because it's the end of the day right now, so I'm not going to mess with it. So sorry if that's an issue. See, this is what I remember live stuff being, is me like floating around conversations, getting distracted by chat and all that stuff. Yeah, that's what happened to that. I mean, it was, you know, and John, I really felt bad because, I mean, I guess I can say this publicly, but like John was, he was a kid in a candy store, right? And he built a Geek House. For those of you who don't remember, this was, my gosh, when was this? This was 2015, right before I moved to Fort Worth. So I was at my loft in Deep Ellum, and it was awesome, and I got to give anything to go back there, but it's just not the same. They started construction for this high-rise across the street. I literally could not make videos. I mean, it was so loud and so distracting, and it was bad. So what I ended up doing was I asked around, and long story short, I think it came off of Twitter. In fact, Byron, if you're still there, I think it was Giovanni who mentioned it to me, tweeted me back, and said, hey, we've got this studio, yada, yada. Why don't you come on out and look at it? So I did. And they were basically saying, well, we'll lease offices out. And we got along. I liked everybody there. And it was really cool. And John had built this place kind of, it was an industrial type of office situation. And he completely gutted it and made it awesome. And man, the fiber in there, like uploading a video to YouTube, like here when I do it, it takes at least 30-40 minutes, maybe an hour. There it was like, video's ready. okay, launch. And it was, I missed that a lot. It was cool. And it was a good group of people. Not easy to get work done around there. It was a little too social, but it was really fun. And I do miss a lot of that. We're running low on light, so I may have to turn on this light. Does the image still look good, guys? Or is it weird? I don't know. Do you use 300K lights? No, I use like daylight lights, so they're higher than that. I don't know what they are. They're cheap. They're all from China because I can't afford good lights. So that's what I use. Jen, what's up? Jen Hall, ladies and gentlemen. Hall's Emporium. Jen is awesome. She lives up in the fine land of Calgary. And yeah. Okay, so when the light gets low or I get hungry, we'll either end this or we'll turn on another light. Yeah, the white balance. Everybody slams Sony on their color. I think it looks pretty good. I'm just saying. What little I can tell from the monitor. But, you know, this is juice. Jen, what is new? See, this is what I don't like about this YouTube thing is it's like there's a lag. So when somebody says nice, so what is it? I don't know what they're talking about. So yes, new studio. Do you guys want a little preview? I'm going to do a video on this, but this is, ignore the sacks. The cat's playing those right now. I need to throw them out or recycle them, but it's like they're enjoying them. So, you know, whatever. So anyway, oh, I may have a picture profile on now that you mention it. Michael mentioned, or is it Michael or Mikhail? Man, I would love to come to Montreal, by the way. Montreal is one of my favorite places in the world, but Jen lives in Calgary, and she'd be really mad if I went to Montreal because I've been to Montreal like 3 times, and I've never been to Calgary. But Canada is on my list. I have never been to Toronto. All I've been is Montreal. That's it. Many times. But I have never been to Vancouver, never been to Calgary, never been to Toronto. Anyway, there's a lot of things on my list, and that's what I want to do. So, anyway. Yeah, the light is going to get dim, just to let you know. So, the hardware you're using, what is it? This is a Sony a6300 with the Zeiss Batis 18mm 2.8 Distagon, which ends up being like a 21 because it's a crop sensor. Rode video mic, whatever thing that I've got that I had to change the battery on, which took like 20 minutes because they're impossible. And then I'm using, this didn't tell you much, I don't know where the rest of the box is. Elgato makes this, and it's this thing. And you just like, it's an HDMI to USB adapter. It's the Camlink. Camlink. There you go. Check it out. So if you guys want to go live too. Toronto. Portugal. Wow, you're late at night, right? It's got to be like past midnight over there. Just saying. City Street, are you in Calgary? I see you in the comments all the time, but I did not know where you are. Man, there are a lot of places I would like to go. I end up like, I go to New York. Actually, it's funny. I go to New York a lot, but I haven't been since last December. So it just hadn't worked out a lot this year. I've been to like some very different places this year. I did Atlanta recently. This is all artist series. So I did Atlanta. I did Florida, which was cool, to interview Clyde Butcher. You guys are going to love Clyde. He's amazing. I got to get those edited, and they take a while. So it's going to be like October. The other thing I want to do is with artist series. See, look, this weird, it's hitting the trees now back here. Some mood lighting. The other thing I want to do is, so YouTube has this feature now called premieres, and they're rolling it out, and I don't have it on my channel yet. But with a premiere, it's going to be like a live video in that you can like set it up and say this will come out Wednesday night at 7 o'clock or whatever, and it'll tell you, and you can hit the reminder and all that. And then like when it goes live during the first, like however long the video is, so let's say the artist series is 15 minutes or whatever, during those 15 minutes you can't rewind. You can come in, and so everybody's kind of watching it together, and the chat comes up like it does in a live video. So I really want to do that for artist series. Artist series, guys, they're hard. And I'm not talking, I mean, they're hard to film and edit, but they're hard to promote, and they're hard to get eyeballs on because just the way YouTube works and the way the photography world works, where people just kind of want to talk about cameras all the time, and then you put up like a video about somebody that they've never heard of, and nobody clicks on it. So it's there's no bait, and anyway, so it's very difficult. And you know, since you guys are all joining me on this first live stream, I will let you on a little secret. I was so depressed when I did the initial artist series, and then again with season 2, that I almost said I'm done. I mean, it's just maddening, and I know it's like when I do one of those videos, like the comments are so positive and people love those, and so I know that there's a group of people who appreciate it and they're really interested. Sorry, I'm not looking at the camera. This is all so awkward. It's the first live stream, folks. But, and I'm also telling you something very personal, but the other thing, on the other side though, it's just like, how do I get those people to know the video's even there? You know what I mean? It's like there's people like, oh, I've heard of the Earth Series, I haven't checked it out yet. And I'm like, well, then go watch it, man. It's awesome. It's like, I promise, I'm not in them. Sorry, my texts are rolling around. They're awesome because I'm not in them. No, they're awesome because it's like, you know, it's just weird how like having a YouTube channel, it's like there's so much work and so many years that go into all of it, but they all lead up to a point where I can get an interview with William Wegman and he'll go for it. You know what I mean? And then it's like, I want it to get the same amount of views that like some crazy Nikon D6 or ZD, whatever, I don't know, whatever the latest and greatest is when that comes, you know, and they just don't. So they're hard. Anyway, my ranting's over. Nobody wants to hear that. But that's what I'm dealing with. So they're going to come out. I have to build the anticipation. So they'll be coming out probably October is what I'm thinking. I hope. Here's a little nugget for you guys. Everybody's been going on and on about photo assignments because those were fairly popular. What happened with photo assignments, since I'm being so forthcoming right now and probably killing my career, photo assignments, those videos were really time consuming and difficult to do, and I realized that a lot of people were, and I hope this wouldn't happen, they got frustrated because, you know, here's a challenge and then somebody goes and digs through their archive and they shoot up some 5-year-old photos that are awesome and perfect, and you know, I mean, but that's the internet, you know. And so there was that, and then there was also the fact I was putting people's names in them and all that, and I wanted to do that because I figured, you know, if you went to the trouble to shoot images, the least I can do is credit you in the video and have fun with that. It just became too much, so I needed a break. Here's the news, though. They're coming back in September. And as I say that, it is, right now, August 30th, which means I have 2 days to get the first one together, which I will do. So they're going to come back, maybe the second. I don't know. We'll see. But for those of you who liked photo assignments, they are coming back in a matter of days. So I know what, I have a plan. We're moving forward. I have a plan. I know what they're going to be. We're going to do 1 a month so they don't kill me. I mean, seriously, guys, I was doing those like every 2 weeks at first, and then at one point it was every week. Like I'd give you the assignment, then I'd have to edit the other video, and literally that would take hours. And like you'll get somebody's name on Twitter who submitted an image that's in Mandarin, and how do I deal with that? Anyway, so I figured it all out. I mean, it's not a problem, but you know, it's kind of, it's one of those things. It's just, it's a weird gig, you know what I'm saying? Sorry, I'm having trouble looking at the chat and talking all at the same time, but so feel free to repeat questions if I didn't see it. Yeah, so you will see people who are, so Web Weaver, who was teasing me about cats, but it would be nice to you anyway. You will see people who are getting sick of Instagrammers and things that, you know, here's the deal with, here's, okay, second comment. People are going to get sick of Instagram girls and guys will, and it will go back to the art of photography. Maybe. I don't think it will, honestly, and I hate to be Debbie Downer about that. I'm going to turn this light on, guys, because the sun is going away. So, that's probably going to jack my white balance, but whatever. Or my autofocus. So, yeah, I was having a conversation with somebody about this the other day, and what were we talking about? Because I think this would make a good video topic, too. But we were talking about how, I think it may have been with the Nikon announcements with the Z6 and the Z7, about how, am I shiny? Am I too shiny? Do I need to dab? So I feel like that with those announcements, we were talking about the decline of camera sales. I know who it was. It was Kevin Raber, who runs Loomis Landscape. And we were talking about how it's going to be interesting because there's been like this huge drop in camera sales, right? And compacts is like been even worse. And then like there's this little thread in the middle that's defined as mirrorless cameras that really has been Fujifilm and Sony and to an extent Panasonic and Olympus. But it's this little thread in the middle. and it's kind of on the rise. So now everybody feels pressured to like jump into that thread. So Nikon's like, whatever we do, we have to rock a mirrorless camera. It has to be done. So they're on it, Canon's on it, although Canon has sort of done it before. And we're sitting there wondering, it's going to be interesting to see if the industry will sustain 7 major corporations that are all trying to sell this many cameras, which I think is very well said. But we were also reaching the discussion that, yeah, sorry, there's no diffuser, it's just up here. It is what it is, guys. It's live and raw. I need a shirt that says that, except Jared will get mad. He gets mad with this one, by the way. Anyway, we're talking about the industry being able to sustain that many people, and Kevin made an interesting point. He said, you know, there's less and less people who are really serious or interested in photography than there were a while ago. And I said, you know, but I also think that photography, like the role it plays in our lives, and I'm pretty sure I've said this in videos, it's changed. And that's not a bad thing. It's just a matter of fact. It's like the history of the world, and you know, it's just where photography sits in there. And what's over with is kind of the rock star persona. In fact, it's very funny, I think, when these camera companies like have their ambassadors and their artisan programs and all that, because like you go in there and you're like, who are these people half the time? I mean, you know, the celebrity photographer. And photography is kind of a utilitarian thing. People use it to take images of things to remember for like day-to-day purposes sometimes. Like, I mean, I've done it. You go out there and photograph your license plate when you're renewing your registration or whatever, and all that. So anyway, so it's interesting to see, and I don't remember how I got on this topic. So this is the other problem with live videos. Like, guys, I appreciate that so many of you came in to help me test this, but literally this is a test. I have no idea what I'm doing. I have no agenda. I have no topic in mind. I'm talking, and there's comments flying up, and I'm trying to keep track of everything. Am I still shooting with the Fuji X-E3? It's like sitting here on the desk, brah. With the, how Hawaiian was that, calling you brah? With the 56 millimeter. I'm doing some stuff with that coming up this weekend, which I'm super excited about. So yes, I still love the Fuji. In fact, I've got a video coming out. You know, I don't know what I mainly shoot. I shoot a lot of things. I've got videos coming up. So Fujifilm actually contacted me and said, would you be interested in reviewing the X-T100? And I said, sure. And I didn't have very high expectations. Oh my. You could tell they saved some money on some certain things. It's not as fast as higher end models and all, but good God, the image quality is just as good as it is on like the X-T2 and the X Pro 2 and all. I mean, it's a different camera, but it's like if you want to scale down and you want the image quality. In fact, the point I'm going to make in that video is that, you know, it's not a bad buy, because then you got money left to spend on lenses, which for Fuji system is like the draw. I mean, the lenses are the reason to get into Fuji. In fact, people always get excited about cameras like X-T2 and the X-T3 is coming, and this and that. Guys, those lenses are going to hold their value any day, and you get the image quality, and they're amazing. And but you know, I love Sony stuff too. I mean, the Zeiss lenses that you can get for Sony are probably some of my favorite lenses I've ever used. I mean, it's like lenses are so underrated. I mean, I don't know, it's just kind of weird. Anyway, I'm looking at the chat now. Do I have any Voigtlander lenses? No, I don't, but I am interested. And no Meyer Optic, none of that. So I recently got a chance to check out, and it's in the other room, the B&H sent it over, the Panasonic G9, which is really impressive. And I forgot how much I like those Micro Four Thirds lenses. All those Panasonic Leicas are just so good. I mean, I use them all the time. A lot of my videos I do on the GH5, and it's back there, and so they're on there. But GFX, yeah, nah, the GFX fit. I don't know what they change the names depending on what country you're in, but it's the GX850, which is one of my favorite cameras. Nobody likes that camera. It's a total sleeper. It has no IS, which is the downfall of it because it's so small, and when you put a big lens on there, you know, or a long lens. But I love the GX850 because it's so small. Sorry, it's in the other room. I'm going to do a tour in the next couple days here, and I'll put it on video. So what I've done here is I've redone the studio. Like those curtains over there, the air conditioner's back there, and there's some closets, and I usually cover a mess. So that's been my backdrop, and I've shot from over here. And so I'm changing it around so I can change the angle of shooting. But I put all these shelves in, which I'm super excited about. And there is another little breezeway room in here that I have never used. It's been full of crap for the last couple of years. So I am going to, I've got my cameras all situated in there, and there's a way to organize things in bags and all that. So I'm surprised that the Artist Series hasn't caught in a major sponsor too. But to be honest with you, the hardest part about Artist Series, and for any of you out there who freelance and or work for yourselves, which is what I do, it gets really hard because there's only one of you. And I will be the first to admit that if you want a sponsor or you want somebody to pick up the Artist Series, I need to do a better job of hustling it. I'm just trying to get eyeballs on it at this point. I mean, this is going to be season 3, so to speak. So that's kind of where I am, and I really need to put the pedal down in terms of doing other things. Just turned in, and this is a treat. Will streaming be a regular thing? I don't know. You guys tell me. Will streaming be a regular thing? I don't know. Literally, I bought this little thing that I could plug the HDMI cable in and try this camera out. By the way, this is on a battery, so I have no... The camera may die. Let's see how much remaining we have. We have... Oh, it's not even... I don't get it on the screen. So if the camera dies, we're done. I do have a plug adapter that I can plug that in. But yeah, I mean, I could stream more often. I'm just, live video freaks me out, man. I'm sorry. I just like to edit, and I like to tell a story, and I know it's way too much work. And, you know, it's funny. I've been streaming for 30 minutes now. It goes fast. But Fuji GFX is the GFX 50S is awesome. Fuji make great stuff. Sorry, and then I rapidly change the subject when I see this is welcome to the ADD theater. That's all I have to say. Yeah, I would love to get a partner, but when your business doesn't make a lot of money, it's not very attractive to potential partners. You know what I mean? And it's also, I mean, it's hard because, how should I say? Jen, I've done crowdfunding before, and I purposely did not do it for season 3 of the Artist Series. Crowdfunding is a ton of work. As you should know, Jen, you've done it. You have rewards to follow through on and all that. And that was fun, but it's so much work to do just to get those videos out. And yeah, I'll have stories prepared next time. I don't have anything prepared. I've been working all day. I finished editing the video that's going to come out tomorrow. I haven't uploaded it yet. And then I thought, let's play with the streaming thing. And then I'm like, what if I just went live? And then I sat there with my finger on the button for 20 minutes, and I thought, nobody's going to watch me. All the trolls are going to come in, and anyway, finally, whatever. So here we are. That's what I'm saying. Streaming is more personal and it's cool, but I think it's chaotic. And I don't know. I've watched live streams before. Maybe it's not that chaotic. I just you get all self-conscious. The other thing I don't like is that I'm not looking at the camera because my computer's over here. So I'm looking over here to see at the chat. Yeah, you trolled, but I'll let you go. Yeah, I think Tony and Chelsea. Oh, man. They'll tell you. Artist Series stuff. Yeah, well, I mean, I would love to do all those things, too. I mean, it's... I wasn't going to talk about all this stuff, but I'm going through an existential crisis, I think. I don't know. It's very hard. I mean, it's when you're doing this for a living, trying to find a balance with content. Because, yeah, I mean, you guys know, who've watched this channel for a long time, that I am pretty committed to... I mean, I love photography. It's my passion. And I am very removed from, I think, the majority of... And I'm not talking about anybody in this stream. You guys are, like, hardcore. But you guys know what I mean? It's like when you see a video that gets really big on a photography channel, and I've had some that go big, but guess what they're on? I could sit here. So here's an example. This is where it gets weird. So the last video I put up, and I don't know if you guys even got notified. I mean, it bombed. It tanked. It's the worst when you're a creator and that happens. But so it was an interview I did with a gentleman named Brett Culp, and Brett is one of the sweetest guys ever. He's a film director. He has had a couple films that he's done that have made it to Netflix, and once that contract was up, he got them on Hulu and Amazon Prime. And anyway, so he's like, he knows that world. And when Sony brought me out to Kondo in, when was that, May, I think, when we went to California, Brett was going to be there, and I wanted to interview him because, I mean, he's just such an inspirational guy. I mean, he's amazing. And so they hooked it up, and he was totally into it. And anyway, I've been waiting to get that video out for a while. And I was like, man, I've just got to nail down and do this. And what's funny is I sat down to do the edit on that. That was the easiest interview I have ever edited. I mean, it helps that Brett is a public speaker too, and tells that story about the movies that he's done. And he's involved with an enormous amount of charities. But anyway, he when we did that, I sat down and it's like normally there's a lot. Can we go back? Wait, can I say that again? Can we? You know, that's what artist series are usually like, and they take hours to edit because you're going through and you've got 2 cameras in 4K with an audio synced up, and anyway, they're really time consuming to do. So anyway, so when I did Brett's, it was like done. And the only thing I did is I cut out. There was a big segment where he talked about his second film and how it. When he did it, didn't have the same outcome. Like the first film, he did that thing where they were trying to figure out how to get theatrical distribution. And when you do a documentary, I mean, even artist series, you're not going to get in a movie theater. I mean, documentaries just really don't go into movie theaters unless it's something really big. And even then, they're small. But anyway, so he had this idea of, okay, if a theater wants a screening, we'll give them the movie as long as they give the proceeds from the tickets to a charity. And they had, like, what was it, 110 theaters across the world that screened this thing. Anyway, so he was saying the second film that he did was different, and it had different outcome. And, and so it's like, well, this just makes the video too long. But anyway, I probably should have just left it in because, like, nobody's watching it, so whatever. But if you guys haven't seen it, I put a card in here. I don't know if you can get to the cards. I don't see it on my end. Is it over here? Sorry, the lag is so bad, I can't tell. Anyway, go check it out after the live stream. It's the latest video I did, and Brett's so inspiring. It's called How to Get Your Movie on Netflix, or How to Get Your Film on Netflix, or something like that, whatever I named it. And, dude, I checked the... Oh, you're talking to each other. Yeah, no. Well, see, here's the other thing is there's no compressor on this microphone. When I do my regular videos, I EQ and compress the audio in Final Cut, and sometimes I don't get it right, and people let me know. But anyway... So a lot of times if I pull away from the mic or talk lower, it just is going to drop in volume, and I'm not used to talking like that. Sorry. Well, I would love to do a documentary, but is the studio done yet? Yes. No, it's not. Sorry. It sort of is done. It's not. My sister does that all the time. Yes. No, it's not. This is phase 1, right? Phase 1 is that side of the room. Oh, no, it's bourbon. Sorry, juice. It's not scotch. Phase 2 is this side of the room. So what I want to do is I want to, I guess, get rid of this desk, which I've had this desk forever. It's my lucky desk. It looks horrible. Everybody hates this desk. People come over there and they laugh at my desk. Oh, dude. Because it's got this cheap veneer that's pulling up. But anyway, it looks like somebody worked here to me. Anyway, so I'm going to get a different desk. What I want to do is get... Up desks are really expensive. I've found that out, but there's another company, I can't think of the name of them off the top of my head, but they have basically the same thing, the electronic up-down desk, and it's probably, what is it, like $200-300, something like that, which is a little more affordable, but I couldn't afford it last month because Container Store like cleaned me out. And anyway, so here it is. And so this is going to go up because I want to stand, because a lot of times, like, when I get in here after lunch and I'm doing a massive edit or something, it's like the snooze starts kicking in. I should go live. Yeah, this is a cool chair. A friend of mine actually hooked me up, and he had a studio he was closing down and said, "Do you want a chair?" And I'm like, yeah. So I bought him dinner and a beer. So my desk has a stry. What does that mean? Story. Oh, yes, it does have a story. Yeah, I gotta love typing. I would love to do a collab with Matt Day. I hope he's doing okay. We've texted a few times. I think he's doing better. But it's hard for him to text, I know. So, well, Valerie, you should watch my videos. Just saying. No, I'm teasing. It's a lot to keep up with. I don't know. I mean, I don't know. It's like even my favorite YouTube channels. I don't keep up all the time, and I feel bad, but. Yeah, the chat's working sort of real time. I think it comes and goes. What do I think about camcorders? Well, nobody's making them anymore, but I don't mind camcorders. It's funny. I was in New York a couple of years ago, and I was having brunch. Some of you guys might know Sarah Dietschy. She is from Dallas, and I really haven't seen her in a long time. But anyway, we had brunch together, and I had the Sony camcorder. I keep saying it, camcorder, and she called it my dad cam. I really felt old. I mean, I am old, but I don't need to feel old, right? So I don't know. Sorry, I'm trying to catch up on chat. Cheap like $2.99. Yeah, I need cheap. Cheap is always good. Will VH cameras make a return? I doubt that. The problem is like it would be cool if VHS made a return. There are people that still shoot with them in that style, but it's so hard to find the equipment that will all plug in and get it to work right, and to just get that digitized is I don't know. I don't see that. I mean, I think the problem, and it's the same thing that I think analog film photography is having trouble with now, is that you can recreate those looks in software, and I know it's not the same, but it's a heck of a lot less expensive, if you know what I mean. And believe me, I was the film holdout, man. And, and the reality is, when I started this show, film is not dead yet. When I started the show, I couldn't afford a digital camera. I was so broke. It was like I was making no money. Anyway, it was different times, and I had like all my old film cameras, and that's what I was shooting, because like I could just get film when I could afford it, kind of thing. But it was awesome, and I think everybody, to be honest with you, it's too bad that more people don't try to shoot film at least once in their life, just to see what that process is and what it's like. I mean, I think, here's where I get in trouble, but there are people out there that swear a little too much by it, and that because they shoot film, it makes their photographs better, and I don't think that's true. But it's a beautiful process, and one of the things that I love about film and darkroom, and I just don't have space since I moved to Fort Worth. I don't have my darkroom set up right now. Thank you, Michael. Stephanie, you're tweeting me and I'm reading it. I mean, what's going on here? She didn't like it. Sorry, Stephanie. It's all right. She's not even here to hear me about it. But anyway, what was I talking about? Film. So what I loved about darkroom is that, like, the time it takes to get a print, like you're doing your test strips, and it's dark, and there's water, and it's cool, and you're in the AC, and it's beautiful, and like it's all this time to sit there and like really zen out on one photograph. And believe me, when you spend enough time with one single photograph, you start to think, I don't like this. And so there's a lot that you can learn that comes back around for the next time. So I think it's really important to do film, and like do it yourself. Don't send it to a lab. Like do it. You know what I mean? That's what I'm saying. Just do it. Yeah. Diana cameras. Yeah, Diana's are awesome, and there's so many different kinds too. Yeah, film is fun, but I mean it's just a guy for a long time. It was the film Nazi. Sorry, I shouldn't use that term, but anyway. You guys talking about Lightroom and Capture One now? Sorry, I'm coming in and I'm guessing what's going on because I can't talk and read at the same time. The battery died? No, the battery didn't die. I can still see me. Yeah, if the battery dies, you won't see me anymore. The camera won't work. Yeah, it's good to slow down. I mean, I'll put it this way. I think that everybody should do that at some point in their journey making images, is to like do something that really forces you. And what's weird is like, that sounds so romantic and poetic to do, but and don't get confused, because like what'll happen is like the first time you do it, you're gonna get frustrated. Like I remember the first time I learned how to develop film. You guys are gonna laugh. So here's the deal. So I really wanted to learn how to develop film because it was awesome, and I had a digital camera at that point. It was like the first Canon Rebel that came out. It was like a 6 megapixel thing. I can't really remember. It was the first one that was kind of affordable. So whichever one that was, the Digital Rebel, I think they call it. It was the gray one. I still have it back there somewhere. And it just, there's no dynamic range or anything. So I was like, all right, I'm going back to doing film because I really want to learn this. And I felt like, for me, it should be like something I have experience with, right? Because here I am, I'm wanting to do a photography show and all this. And it's like, well, I want to have experience with everything. So I'm going to learn how to do film. I want to learn how to develop myself. So the first time I ever did it, I signed up for a class, and I was going to have somebody show me how to do it. And I couldn't wait. I mean, the class was like 2 weeks away still. And so I was like, you know, F it. And I just bought all these chemicals like at the store. And I came home and I'm reading like the Ansel book, and, you know, he's talking about agitation. And I'm thinking agitation, and it's like, you know, like a cocktail shaker, like you're making a martini or something. So I shook the crap out of that first roll of film. And like, I mean, I pre-exposed it accidentally. It was so bad, and it looked cool, and I was so excited and so proud of myself. And like, a friend of mine came over and he's like, "Man, that grain is big." And I'm like, "I don't know how to do it." And he's like, "Well, how did you agitate?" And I was like, "I just shook it up, man, till it like got bubbles in it." And he was like, "That's anyway." So, and then I went and took the class and did more of it. Hey, what's up, Abarian X? How are you doing? No, I did not paint in here. I don't have time to paint, so it's the same colors, just the lights are different. But anyway, that was my first foray into film. If you guys don't follow Abarian X, do you see the Candid Frame? I can't talk too much whiskey. The Candid Frame. That is my buddy, Abarian X Perello. And Abarian X has, first of all, excellent, incredible taste in Cuban food. When I'm in LA, and I haven't been in a while, I'm due, we get together and try to do dinner. And we did the last time I was there, and he took me to the most amazing Cuban restaurant. It was so amazing. It was good. Anyway, Abarian X, I think you told me you're not at Art Center now, but he was at Art Center for a long time. He's the man, I'm telling you. If you want to learn photography, go watch his channel. He's like insanely good. It's a podcast. That's kind of how we know each other, because like we started back when it was Puerto Rico Food Truck. You're on, dude. We are so there. Can we bring John Free? Maybe that's not a good idea. I don't know. He'll entertain us. We'll have some stories. No, we got to do two different things, you know. I'm just saying. Unless, I doubt John's watching this. He didn't watch YouTube. But anyway, yeah, Abarian X is the man. But yeah, so the frustration of trying to learn how to develop film and learning all the processes, it takes a long time. And I think that for me at least, sometimes there's a removal, and this is what I struggle with too. It's like the whole thing with digital imaging, and it gets into this pixel peeping territory, and understanding how to use tools like Capture One and Lightroom, and they're powerful, they're amazing, they're 100% gold. But I think analog is too, and understanding film and how it's going to react in this whole chemical way of dealing with images is amazing too. But either one of them like are obnoxious just on their own, because it's like, well, okay, you've got to like take good photographs, and it really doesn't matter what you shoot on or which way you choose to go. So anyway, all I'm saying is that I know I'm contradicting myself, but I think you should learn to do all those things, because you're going to have those Zen moments where you're spending long periods of time with single photographs, and you're going to start, hopefully you start to think, okay, I could be doing this differently, and what if I did this next time? And that's when you start to improve. And it's not always the technical side. Like for me, if I spend enough time with one of my photographs, I really hate it. In fact, it doesn't take long. But John Free, a live stream with John Free would be a trip. He would, oh man, I'm ADD enough. I can't imagine him in there. No, I love John. He's a nut. I have not talked to John in a long time. I need to reconnect. Actually, I need to go to the Puerto Rican food truck with Abarian X. That's the priority in Los Angeles next time. Guys, if you're just now joining, I can remember enough to say this. I have no script. I bought this thing so I could like connect my A6300 to my computer, and I'm live, and here I am. And the cats are fighting. There's no plan. They probably want to be fed. John's not going to get me beat up. John is a sweetheart. He is. This is not fine whiskey, and it's juice, right? Because I did not age restrict this. Can we talk about booze if it's not age restricted? Abarian X, the device is made by Elgato. This is called the Elgato Camlink. It's like $100. It's cheap. Like so I have not done a lot of live streaming on my channel because I personally think live video is weird. But what happened, so a long time ago, I've done it before, and I used like this Blackmagic box that I bought that would like turn the HDMI into FireWire, I think, and then I had to adapt that to USB, and this thing would like just get really hot, and it was It was horrible. Anyway, this thing rules. Full endorsement. You're seeing the results. Like, it looks pretty good. And I'm pumping this up in 720p because I have a really crap internet service here at the house, and so that's about all I can do. I'm seeing both of them. It looks better on here than on OBS. I'm using OBS, the open source, than it does over there. But yeah, I'm handsome. I'll tell you what. If you like aging photo nerds, I'm your man. Tight. So anyway, so that's the deal. We're nearing an hour, and I'm growing hungry. So I'm not sure what I'm going to do about that. Local time here in the fort is in the Fort Worth is 7:53. I don't know what time it is where you are. Jen Hall's getting it done. That's the other thing I don't miss is scanning negatives. It takes so long. It's all good. But yeah, start the subreddit. Let's get that going on. It'll be good. I'm not going to eat a cat. See, Webweaver went from trolling to serious to slamming the cats again, man. I'm telling you. And I don't have a filter on here. Somebody asked that earlier. But is anybody trolling in here? I don't think anybody's like seriously trolling. Phoenix. Pohenix. I need to get back to Phoenix. In fact, it might be. I might be back in Phoenix Octoberish. There is a chance that I will be... Where is it 10:54 in the morning? Like Hawaii or something? No, it'd be further than that. Like you're in Japan, right? Anyway, there's a chance I will be headed up towards Flagstaff again to do something with Hidden Light in October. I don't know. They don't know that yet. I've got plans. We got people from all over the world. Oh, Australia. Australia is a place I have never been and is totally on my list. So is Mexico. Mexico's in the same time zone, though. But that is no reason not to go. Mexico was one of the most fun trips I have ever been on when I did the Artist Series stuff down there. I was down there a long time, too, because normally when I go places, I'll stay a couple days. But I was in Mexico a whole week, and oh my God, I can't wait to go. Yeah, the Hidden Light crew are pretty awesome. I wish they would do a YouTube channel. Although they, you know, they have work to do and stuff. And actually, I forgot about this. Matt over at Hidden Light, the printer that I work with. Here comes a kitty. Judy, what are you doing? She's up behind the camera. No, Mexico should not scare the hell out of you. Mexico's amazing. So Matt asked me, he said he wanted to give away a print. And so I may be doing that soon. I need to do that soon. Gots to do it. What are you afraid of? Do you want food? Okay. Oh! Here's a cat. This. Graceful. This is Judy. She loves being held. She loves to be the baby. Say hi to the people. You want to be the baby? You want down? You gotta go. All right, see you. She's not into that. But, like, I try to lint brush before I film, and that doesn't always work out, and there's usually some gob of something, and somebody points it out in the comments. See, like this? Where is it? Over this side. Sorry, one of them's, like, delayed. You just deal with it. You clean a lot around here. A lot of dusting, a lot of vacuuming. Multiple times a week. Sorry, now it's... Oh, Argentina would be amazing. I would love to go to Argentina. There's a lot of places I would love to go to. Love, love, love. My beard. No, the beard. I'm due for... So sometimes I have a friend who does straight razor shaves. She's a hairstylist. And that is an amazing thing if you've never done a straight razor shave. We're definitely like off the subject of like just cats and straight razor shaves and whiskey and, I mean, juice. And I put cherries in the juice too. It's kind of an old fashioned. There was ice in here, but I've been on for a while. Looking forward to the new 150 megapixel. I am too. You know, I get so much crap whenever I talk about Phase 1. People get like mad because they're really expensive. And what I don't think anybody understands is like, yeah, you could own a Phase 1. It's like buying a nice car and then some. But you can rent them. And you don't, I mean, I don't know that I'd want to own a Phase 1. That's a lot of money just to have a camera that you're going to use for specific things. Because here's the deal, and like medium format cameras do not behave like APS-C and full frame. They just don't. They don't have phase detection autofocus. They're not fast. They're not. It's a different beast. It's for a specific thing. Your payoff is resolution, and it's phenomenal. I'm really excited about the 150 megapixel camera because one thing they did do, it's not just 150 megapixel, and that's the big differentiator, but with the no, and you're not going to use them for video. No way. I mean, they're not video cameras. There's just no. We're not there yet. One day we'll be at 16K. Who knows? But hey, you missed it earlier. Photo assignment start in a few days, so stay tuned. Anyway, but back to what I'm saying with Phase 1. The 100 megapixel was cool. It's a massive. It's a studio camera, and I think the new one will be too. But like, you take that out. Like when I went to Arizona with it, man, it's a lot of camera to haul around when you're not using it all day too, because it's heavy and you don't want to leave it anywhere because you're responsible for it. So anyway, but they were slow, right? So the 100 megapixel, like, you can't speed shoot, and I never really thought about it because I would shoot it like a studio camera. And I was talking to Bastian Volt, who I did an art series with a couple weeks ago. Really young guy, and he shoots Phase 1, and he shoots with an older Phase 1. He shoots on the, I think it's the 80 megapixel. It may even have the 50, I can't remember. And I said, have you tried the 100 megapixel? And he said, no, I haven't. And he said, he said, yes, I have, but no, I'm not interested in getting it. And I was like, why? And he said, well, because, like, you know, I shoot portraits, and when I'm working with a model and I'm trying to interact, and sometimes you fire off a shot and then they do something, like, I need it to be fast. I need it to respond. He said, that's why I prefer the older camera. But one thing they did in the 150 is they beefed up the processor and a bunch of other stuff, and it uses XQD, is that right? XQD, and I think it has a CF option. But anyway, the card option, they have two cards you can put in. Sorry, Nikon. But anyway, that was the deal, is that they've beefed up the speed on that considerably. So I'm really interested in that. And they also have in-camera JPEG processing. They call it, I think it's kind of a weird marketing term, but they call it Capture One Inside. We have Capture One Inside, meaning Capture One is inside the camera now. So it sounds really weird, but no, I think it's going to be an incredible camera. And I was supposed to be in New York this last week. We were trying to work that out because I knew that camera was coming. Yeah, it's a $50,000 camera easily, bro. And I think you get a lens with that, but try buying a couple lenses and see where you get, because those lenses are like, between 7 and 12K a piece. I mean, they're incredible. I mean, you've never seen a lens like that. But here's the deal. Like I was saying, you don't need to own a camera like that. You can rent it for something that you have that's very specific in mind that you want to do, and let the rental company maintain it and keep up with it and all that. So anyway. But I think the 150 Phase 1 is going to be incredible. It looks awesome. But anyway, I was going to go to New York, but they didn't. It turned out they were not going to have a camera in before the release. So once they get one in, I'm going to do a video on that. Thoughts on going old medium format versus new full frame? Like, what do you mean by old medium format? Like film old, or Phase 1 or Hasselblad? I mean, you know, all those stuff are cool. It's like, you know, I get grilled on it a lot, but I mean, I love the Hasselblad cameras. I think they're amazing. The Hasselblad's my favorite, and the Fuji's awesome too, but the Fuji's still a studio camera. It's a big camera, and I think they'll probably make them smaller. But the thing that Hasselblad has going for it is that it's tiny. It's like shooting with a full frame digital camera, but you're getting medium format. It's not as fast, and the Hasselblad lenses, I mean, you say whatever you want about Hasselblad, but those lenses are crazy good. They're also crazy expensive. But another thing you can rent. Will 4/3 die? I don't think so. I think 4/3 has a very committed niche of people. I love Micro Four Thirds. I think that one thing that both Panasonic and Olympus did very well with Micro Four Thirds are those lenses. I think they're incredible. Particularly the Panasonic Leicas, and I know they're not super expensive, but they're not like Hasselblad expensive. I mean, you know, Hasselblads are expensive. But again, rent. Instax Square. I have Lomography sent me their Square, which I'm going to do a video on. It's pretty awesome. I dig it. Thank you, Eduardo. Awesome to see me live. I don't know if it's awesome to be live. I just decided to do it. I have no plan. We're just... what niches would you need 100? Well, it just depends. I mean... you've got to figure that out creatively, I think. I mean, there are niches that are more technical. Like when I worked in the art museum, I mean, I wasn't in like the technical photography department when I worked at the museum in Dallas. But they had a staff, and I know those guys real well. In fact, one of them is no longer there, and he now works for Digital Transitions, who works for Phase One. But anyway, really nice guys. But like when you're reproducing artwork, or if you're like old books, anything that's of historical significance. I mean, those library folks like to get really big, high-resolution images. So that's definitely one of the things that's for. I don't even think you need it for magazine fashion, to be honest with you. Oh, yeah, if you're going to crop, you bet. Because that's another amazing thing about medium formats. You have so many megapixels to work with. Even 50 megapixels is really big. And it's a little bit different. In fact, a friend of mine who owns an older Phase One, he was saying, you know, you really are not in the same lens game that you are with like APS-C, Micro Four Thirds, whatever, because you do have that room to crop. So like if you have a wide angle, you can kind of get away with several different wides out of that just by kind of cropping in. And they have a good point. I mean, it's different. It also depends if you want to do here. I'll give you an example. So one of the guys I've interviewed for this season of the Artist Series is Clyde Butcher. And if you're not familiar with Clyde, go look him up. He is so awesome. Clyde is, I'm not sure, he's in his 70s, I guess. He had a stroke last year, and he wasn't supposed to make it. That guy had more energy than I did. He's incredible. He slows down sometimes, but he keeps going, and it's fascinating. But anyway, he spent most of his career shooting large format. So 8x10 and up, 11x17, 16x20, big cameras and big negatives. And he does these massive prints that'll cover an entire wall. I mean, they're like 10 feet by 8 feet, that kind of thing. And when I was talking to him, and you'll see this in the Artist Series because, I'll get to that in a second, Matt. When you see this in the Artist Series, when we were talking about those big prints, and that's something that he's done big prints, but he's also done it, but he's known for the big stuff. But when we talked about composition and such, the big prints, it's all about how the viewer perceives it when they're in a gallery looking at it on the wall. And in his case, he said it's an immersive experience. So you feel like you're in the picture. So composition has to change to create that experience. You're no longer looking at something like dividing things up by thirds, or any kind of rule you want to come up with, or balancing your composition. You're trying to create something that is wide angle enough, but also has enough or the least amount of distortion to feel like you're immersed in that experience. I think you could do that with something like the Phase One if you really wanted to print massive size pictures like that. It's about an immersive experience, because when it's big like that, you can dial in and you can get close to it. I'm not even talking about billboards. I'm just talking about art, right? So if you're going to print big, that's what you would do. Now, Clyde also used, he's got one of the Fujifilm, the GFXs. He loves it. And we had a debate going back and forth because he hates Hasselblad, and he knew that I had one and whatever. And he had a lot of things wrong about Hasselblad that I corrected him on. But the GFX is cool. What's really cool is that Clyde shoots pretty much all adapted lenses and does a lot of stitching, which you guys probably didn't know. So he'll do bigger prints or these wide panoramas. And we were going through some of his favorite lenses, the Canon 7, all tilt shift. So the Canon 17mm tilt shift, the Nikon 19 and the Nikon 21, I think, are his three that he goes to a lot. And he's a tilt shift guy. If you've never done perspective control, it's amazing. And that's what's cool about digital, is that you can stitch all that together now. And you don't necessarily have to have 150 megapixels. It all depends what you're shooting. I mean, you can't stitch action, but you can stitch a landscape, right? Or an interior, or whatever it is that you're doing. So, Dennis, my man from Flagstaff, how are you, sir? Dennis is awesome. I got to meet Dennis this year. He was in Flagstaff when I did the thing at Hidden Light. I'm gonna go a little bit longer, guys. I have no plan, and I'm just talking, and I'm starting to get hungry. But yeah, Helmut Newton, Sebastian Salgado, they all did wide pictures too. But I mean, it was all different stuff. I mean, I don't know. 100 DPI. I don't remember, like, what is a photo these days? Back when I was in my graphic design era, it was like 300 is what would go to print, 300 DPI. I think you can get away with like an inkjet printer with like 150 if you had to. You'd probably go lower. It just depends. Everything depends, right? Everybody always says it's funny when you talk about. I'm gonna get some pizza with this juice, Bob. When you talk about medium format, everybody's like, "What are you gonna print billboards?" That's not how you print billboards. I mean, they're done differently too. Yashika Met. Oh man, I'll tell you what. Another thing that I have done recently that once I get this completed in here, that I'm gonna go back and do, is that back when I shot almost all film and I did a lot of medium format and Holgas and Rolleiflex and Hasselblad and all that stuff. I'm talking about film Hasselblad. Is that I have all my negatives. They're all in boxes back there. But back when I scanned them, part of it was out of time consumption, and the other part of it was early days of Flickr. And I would scan at like 500 pixels by 500 pixels, and that would be fine. And so I have all these PSD files. They're tiny. They're like postage stamps. And so recently I went back through and did some high resolution scans just with the silly desktop scanner that I've got. They look great. It's like, I mean, even a better scanner would do even better than that. But I did one of my 4x5s. I hit the wrong setting because basically, like, okay, so I had medium format on there, and you put large format on there, you don't need the same DPI. You can make it smaller. So I put the large format on, I forgot to change the DPI, and I had like, what is it, like a 400 megapixel image or something when I was done. And I mean, it's crazy. You get down to a grain level on it. I mean, there's only so much resolution you're going to crank before. I mean, you can crank ultimate resolution, but like, when does the photo go away and it's just silver particles and stuff, you know? And so you hit that. And that's even on like a really cheap, old, not that great scanner. So I'm just saying, what I want to do, one of my big projects, as soon as I can get a little bit of time, and I don't know when that's going to be, but I want to go back and rescan a lot of my film stuff. Just because the stuff that I just didn't scan it big. Which is what's funny is it's another thing. People say, well, at 5K monitor, 4K video, 8K, you never need that. You never need more than 24 megapixels. Never say never, folks. I remember back when digital came to be, right, and Canon and Nikon first started putting out cameras that were somewhat affordable, like near $1,000. You still had to buy lenses. Oh God, lenses were bad back then too because they work differently with a digital sensor than they do with film. Anyway, I digress. But that was a big deal. And I remember the days where people like 12 megapixels, that's all you'll ever need, man. Or 6. Like they'd say stuff like that. It's like your phone has that, bro. But not back then. I mean, it was different. Mr. Mike James, what's going on? Hey, dude, have you tried the D810? So that's one of the things that I want to do. I want to get a hold of a D850 and that new adapter they got. I know you don't need all that stuff, but I just want to see how it works. The D850 has the thing where if you do negatives, it'll turn them to positives. A7R2, yeah, it's thumbs up. I recorded some of the artist series on it. You know, the amazing thing about A7R, I don't know how much battery life I have in this camera, we'll find out. The amazing thing about like Sony and, dude, the G9 is awesome, by the way. Sony A7 stuff, though, the A7Rs. A7R2 came out, and I used that for, like, I think I used that for Keith Carter's video, Alexi's video, a bunch of them. I rented them, and the A7R2 is incredible. The A7R3 is great. I mean, they're all incredible if you want a lot of megapixels. Yeah, Mike, that's what I was talking about, is I want to try that new adapter. I mean, you don't need that stuff. You can make that stuff, but it's just like, it could be super fast just to whip your film through there, and the camera's got this auto thing that flips the negative. I think that would be like sticky wicked, if you know what I mean. I haven't said that in a couple of years. Sony a6000 is still a good camera. I mean, that's the thing. The entire photo industry makes you think that you need to buy new stuff all the time because they need to sell new stuff all the time. It's an expensive industry for those corporations to be in, and there's a lot of R&D that goes into all that stuff, and it's a market that, I mean, if you guys have followed any of the numbers over the last, Mike will tell you this because he's talked about it on his podcast. Mike James is from the Petapixel, by the way. He does the Petapixel podcast. Cool dude. We met in Utah a few years ago and had a good time. And at the time, we both had our brand new RX100 4s, if I recall correctly. Yeah, you need some grandma, Mike. Somebody called it that one time. I thought that was awesome. But that's the deal. It's like, if you've been following this camera business at all for the last however many years, it's like, it's doing this, right? And everybody's like, okay, well, here's the categories. You have compact cameras, and they've really tanked. You've got DSLRs that have been tanking, but then there's this little thread in the middle of mirrorless that's been going up. I don't think that's the right way to look at it. Are you a different Mike James? You look the same. All I see is this little teeny tiny thing. But anyway, all right, well, you know two Mike Jameses now. So, this little thread of mirrorless that's going up. So everybody's like, we got to make a mirrorless. We got to make a mirrorless. And so they're all going out to make a mirrorless. And we'll see. Is that little thread enough to sustain several corporate entities? Well, I don't know. You know, the thing that really freaks me out, guys, is the Nikon stuff. Because I don't know if y'all saw the news the other day. I'm going to make this my last thing because I'm sure this battery's low. But so you guys saw the news the other day, I'm sure, that Nikon issued their apology that they're not going to have enough Z7s to deal with the demand. And the demand supposedly is 20,000 cameras a month. First of all, that's insane. But let me tell you something. They have a problem that nobody, I don't think, has scored on yet. It doesn't matter what you think of the Z7 or the Z6 or any of that. But you do a bizarre job of introducing a camera. And that camera, then you invite, and I was not invited, I'm not bitter, I don't care, but they invited YouTubers to go to that. You guys know who they were, Tony and Chelsea and Jared and all them. And they all went and didn't care for it so much and said so. So you have that. So first of all, why wasn't it ready when you had the press there? Say what you want about Sony's, but they were ready to rock when press get invited. So there's one. Two is then you turn around and you come out with this, we can't meet the demand. And supposedly Nikon needs this camera to survive, and I don't know what's true and what's not. I'll tell you what, if I were CEO of that company, I would not be very happy about that because, okay, let's just round it down. Let's say you're going to spend $3,000 on that camera times $20,000 a month. That is $60 million a month in camera sales. And you can't meet that? If you have any trouble, how do I even respond to that? Like, that's messed up. Like, right. And I don't know where they got that 20,000 number. Maybe they made it up. And there's another theory, too. There's another theory, and I think this is awful, too. The other theory, like, if you want to go buy a D850 right now, they're all out of stock. So the other theory, and this is a marketing tactic, is that you create scarcity. Must be scarce. So if we create scarcity, that means that they're more valuable. So somebody's been trying to get a D850 for months now, and they can't find a D850. We've got to find something. Oh, well, I'll wait, because the whole thing is that it clings them in. But anyway, I think that's bad too. I mean, come on, put them out there, have them ready. Don't mess with people. I think the whole thing is so goofy. Although I will say, I mean, if you go, they've released all the technical data on those three lenses. The 35-1.8, the 50-1.8, and then the 24-70 f4. The MTFs look good on those. I mean, they're probably going to be good lenses. In fact, I think this is, and I said this in my video when I put it out before Nikon made the announcement, that they have an opportunity here. I mean, whether or not they take it or not, who knows? But I think, a lot of these other things, like not being able to like get your 60 million a month, that's some management or hierarchy issues. I don't know what's going on there. That's weird corporate stuff, I mean, bust it out. And actually, Patio87 says ugly lenses, though. I'm kind of surprised that, the Noct logo is like a cartoon. And that's going to be an expensive lens. That's going to be a $6,000 lens. You wait and see. I guarantee you, it's going to be pricey. And have you ever shot on f/95? That is not for everybody. A lot of people think they're going to dig it and don't. Anyway, we're going down the camera rabbit hole here. But anyway, it's just my point is it's like I just don't know what's going on. And I also don't care. I mean, it's like the bottom line is like I was talking to somebody the other day and who has played with the new Nikon. I said, "What'd you think?" He's like, "It's a camera," and I'm like, "Yeah, I know." There's plenty of 24 megapixel cameras out there that do just fine. And you find the one that works for you. And I don't know. They all come out with this thing, though, that you have to have the latest and greatest. I stayed up and watched the Nikon presentation for the Z6 and Z7. That was, it was like a strange corporate PowerPoint infused with a Japanese auction. Like this girl would come out and read all the yen prices and then like on her billboard and then go back and another guy would come on, oh, it's okay. And then they had like all the motion graphics. And it's like, I finished watching the thing. I stayed up late. I was going to do a video and I'm like, I can't think of anything to say about this. And then I decided to go to bed. And then the next day I learned more from B&H actually having the specs than I got out of that entire presentation. It was just I don't know. The whole thing is goofy. But I'm telling you, and you look at the comments, everybody's piping up right now. This is the hottest thing going right now, this Z6 and Z7. Everybody is just crazy about it. And I mean, that's fine. But, like, has anybody used the camera and tried the raw files? And, like, we haven't even, like, dug into it yet. So, we'll see. And what do you get, like 5 to 10 minutes of video? By the way, my Sony here, I've been live streaming for an hour and 18 minutes. I really need to, I don't know. You guys should go watch the last video I did. It's with Brett Culp, and he's awesome. DP Review got a model. Who's the model? I'm behind on all the catching up because it's just too much. I don't know. Although the DP Review guys, I know they're super techy on their website, but the guys that I met that work there are so awesome. Those guys are so cool. And of course, Jordan and Chris are like the dudes. I love those guys. Autofocus at 95. I'm not sure. Thanks, Joseph, for hanging out. We'll see you. I'm gonna sign off in a second. I'm not sure. There may be a reason autofocus can't do it because that's really thin depth of field. That may be some of it. I don't know if there's a technical reason in the lens why they can't. I've often wondered the same about, like, you know, the Zeiss stuff, and I love Zeiss. We're filming with a Zeiss lens. I love Zeiss. Everything Zeiss is awesome. The Bata series for Sony are some of my favorites, and I love the Loxia line too. But they have the Milvus, was it the Milvius, whatever it is, and the Otis, and they've got some others. But anyway, those are both manual focus lines, and I've often wondered, is it because they're trying to be retro, or is it because Nikon won't share the data with them? You know, and that could be because Nikon is a lens company, and so Nikon wants you to buy Nikon lenses, not Zeiss. Yeah, Zeiss are pricey. I don't think I'll post the stream. I don't know. Maybe. Guys, I'm like, I have no plan. We're talking about whatever. It's like the ADD theater in here. I don't know. Oh, Paul liked it. I don't know if you may have just said don't say that, so I won't say who Paul is. Anyway, yeah, I don't know. Anyway, Zeiss are awesome, and I'll tell you what, here's the deal with lenses, and it just depends on how big of an optics geek you are. And again, like the Zeiss Otis, like what is the 85 millimeters, like what is a $5,000 lens, $6,000 lens, something like that, which is crazy expensive. Do you really need to own that lens? Because you can rent them for $150 for a weekend. I'm just saying. And when you, this is not a formal live stream. I don't know. I'm sorry. Anyway, this is the thing I see over here, and then I get sidetracked. The Otis 85 millimeters is a really expensive lens. Do you need to own it? Probably not. But if you wanted to use it, it's available. But when you do use those lenses, it's the same thing with the Schneider Kreuznach Phase 1 lenses. Like, there's a huge difference between that and a little Fuji APS-C lens. Now, those are great lenses too, but there's a huge difference. It's resolution, it's the way it handles things, it's the way it handles distortion, coma, the way it handles spherical aberrations. I mean, there's so many things that go into it. I think, to be honest with you, I don't know. Sigma, you know, I really haven't played with that many Sigmas, oddly enough. I just haven't ever gotten there. People rave about them, though. But, you know, there's the kind of lenses, it's like, there's stuff that you're going to use enough and you want to own. And then there's stuff that, like a 55 millimeter 0.95 lens, f.95, that's not a day-to-day lens, man. That's like when you want some really wild art shot with like razor thin depth of field or I don't know. I mean, it's a totally different ballgame. But, you know, lenses are fascinating to me because it gets so mathematical so quickly, and when you ask people who really know what they're talking about lens design, it like shoot, goes over your head really quickly because as photographers we're not as interested in the mathematical side, and so it's much different. Okay, dinner time. Yeah, thank you, Austin. Man, are you in Austin? I love Austin. So I'm going to go find food too. It is now time. I don't know if I'm going to post this in the channel or not. We may just keep this between us. You know what I mean? No need to make this a public spectacle. Just keep it between us. Actually, that could be kind of cool. And I need to do it for people who are channel members. They changed the name from sponsorships to channel memberships now. Yeah, thank you, John. But I need to do, I told him I would do private things and I haven't. So we got to do that. Got to do it like every week, like Fridays or something. I don't know. So we'll figure it out. It's coming soon. It's coming quick. So here's the deal. I'm going to sign off now. But what I'm going to do is look for it this